It is a very nice night in downtown Cincinnati. Cooled off a little bit. And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. A sellout crowd on hand tonight for Game 2 of this 3-game series. The defending world champions in town. And one of their former World Series heroes did them in last night, Edgar Renteria, in a 13-inning Reds win. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds and Baseball, where the Reds finally end that 4-game losing streak here last night in a thriller. And now you take a look at tonight's game. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Madison Bumgarner against Mike Leake. But what about the job turned in on the mound and even at the plate last night by Jose Arredondo?
You know, you really never know who's going to be a hero from night to night. You sit out there as a bullpen guy. You're a middle reliever, maybe sometimes a long reliever, and you never think you're going to get called on in the 13th inning, not only pitch but to hit as well. He came out there, got a nice easy inning, did Jose Arredondo, and he's thinking, hey, maybe my inning is over with, that's my contribution. And then all of a sudden, Dusty Baker says, you know what, we're going to send you to the plate. And that's where the real interesting stuff really began. They took the bunt off after he did not look comfortable, and then the former shortstop, when he was a minor leaguer with the Angels, singles over the head of the third baseman. That kept the rally alive and enabled the Reds to come up with a big win last night.
Edgar Renteria driving in the winning run, making Arredondo a winner in the game here last night. So here we go in round 2 of this series tonight. And Mike Leake, who's been a quality start machine, tries to turn in another. We'll talk more about that. Chris Welsh will break it down in a minute. A short while ago. Let's check in with Jeff Creighton.
Going to be another hot day down at Great American Ballpark. The humidity levels will be a little bit better, but the beginning of the game, it'll still be on the hot side. 87 that first pitch, 81 by the 7th inning. By the final out, skies becoming partly cloudy, 79 degrees, and hopefully win number 2 in a row for the Redlegs. Let's bring it home.
Indeed, indeed, and Mike Leake could go a long way into picking up back-to-back wins for the Reds.
Well, he's got 12 quality starts, which means you go at least 6 innings of 3 earned runs or less baseball. That is the second most on the team. And Mike Leake's a guy that has really been dependable. Last year, when he came right out of Arizona State, took his first major league job, no minor league activity for him last year until a little bit of a stint this year. He has been on the ball, Mike Leake, 16-10 lifetime. He will face a guy who is actually younger than himself. Madison Bumgarner will turn 22 years old on Monday, and he is in his 3rd major league season. He had a cup of coffee a couple of years ago. Last year he had a nice year, and here he is, one of the better left-handers in the league. 13-15 lifetime is Bumgarner. Throws a fastball about 93 miles an hour, has a slider, curveball, changeup, and he is a real aggressive pitcher on the mound. Pitched a good game against the Reds, but lost back in June. He's looking for a payback.
Reds trying to build on that 13th inning momentum from last night. First pitch next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Drive One by the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com and by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time.
Reds have taken the field. Giants are set to get this thing started. Let's take a look at Bruce Bochy's starting lineup for the defending world champions. Andres Torres in center, Jeff Keppinger, Carlos Beltran to start it. Pablo Sandoval, Nate Scherholtz, and Brandon Belt in the middle. A ladder third of Brandon Crawford at short. Chris Stewart catching Madison Bumgarner. 8-6 right-hander Mike Leake on the mound for the Reds.
Now Mike Leake looking for another quality start. He's winless in his last 3. 0-2 with a 4 earned run average over that time, but he's pretty good baseball. Love to put a big W on the board tonight, the middle of 3 against the Giants.
Breaking ball is strike 1, says the home umpire Vic Carapazzo. What do we know about the home plate umpire?
Well, his number is 63.56. That is the percentage of strikes that Vic calls.
1-1 to Torres, who did not start the game here last night. Only a .234 batter, 3 home runs, 18 batted in. It seems like every time we see Torres, he is getting base hits. Might be scuffling overall on the year. but seems to play very well, especially in this ballpark and against the Reds. Two and two on Andres Torres.
Mike Leake has to be very anxious about getting right back on the mound against this San Francisco Giant team. He threw his best start of the year, at least in my opinion, against the Giants back in San Francisco, June the 11th, went 8 innings of 2-run, 8 strikeout baseball in that ball game. Reds won it 10-2.
Now, Chris, you talked about earlier all the run support that Mike Leake has received this year. Of course, don't try to sell him on the idea of the last couple of starts.
Well, you're right.
6 innings, allowed 2 hits and 1 run against the Pirates. Reds lost that game 1-0, and then a blown save behind him. And the Reds only scored 2 runs against the Mets his last start. But boy, those overall numbers of run support are clearly heavily in his favor.
Well, it can be a deceiving statistic because they take all the runs together. So in one game you may get 10 runs in your support, the next 2 you get 0. So that's the way it's been for Mike Leake lately. They've not really had a lot of run support for anybody. But there's the leaderboard in the National League in that department.
Torres can run a little bit. Votto's got a bare hand. What a play, and Leake was there in time. Beautifully done by Votto and Leake.
That's a couple of guys that have worked together and done this a lot so far this year. Leake is a very good athlete. I mean, he gets off the mound about as well as anybody, and he kind of shuffle steps himself over here so that he's not standing on the bag, and when Votto receives it and he has to throw behind him. So he's right there 1 step away. Our Performance Honda Exmo, she shows us that Mike Leake gets there before Andres Torres. Looks easy, but that's a play all about timing. I think he got the inside of the bag with his foot right there. It looked like he missed the bag from that angle, but that Performance Honda Exmo gives us such a good look. He got it with the outside of his shoe.
So now the batter, Jeff Keppinger. And he looks at a strike on the inside corner. Keppinger had 2 hits and 5 at-bats, was on base 3 times. Both hits were doubles. Playing in his 9th game with the Giants since coming over in a trade from Houston. When you wonder what players the Astros are going to have left by the time we see them.
They'll be young.
Starting on Monday night, they traded away Keppinger. They traded away Hunter Pence yesterday to Philadelphia. There's talk about a deal for Michael Bourne in the works with somebody out there. Votto had it played absolutely perfectly. We wondered about Votto playing that far off the bag with Keppinger was up at the plate last night, but at least for 1 at bat tonight, it pays dividends.
Well, there was no seam open on that side of the infield, really, unless you hit it right back through the middle or down the line. Right here is where this ball goes, and if you watch, you'll see that Brandon Phillips would have been right there to make that play had Votto not been that far off the bag. Keppinger likes to go the other way, but evidently he has shown himself not to go right down the line. That's why Votto took the liberty of going way off the bag.
So a couple of ground ball outs from Mike Leake to Joey Votto to start this one, and now the batter is Carlos Beltran, playing in his 3rd game since a trade from the Mets to the Giants. He has spent the entire week nearly outside of 1 day in the Queen City.
It's got to be like Groundhog Day for him, doesn't it?
Yeah, he had a big party, I guess, over at Ruby's downtown for all of his teammates and the Mets coaching staff and the manager Terry Collins the other night. He's been hanging in town a lot. Had a number of people tell me what a very, very nice young man Carlos Beltran is. Soft-spoken, has always carried himself with a lot of class.
Well, that was one of the things that the Giants were hoping to get with Beltran. Is his demeanor is quiet. He's got a lot of confidence, but he's not a cocky kind of a guy, and he prepares right. And he hopes they hope that type of preparation and his presence in the clubhouse will even help this World Championship team get even better.
1-2 on Beltran.
Offensively, he's 1 for 9 since joining the Giants.
Swing and a miss, and a 1-2-3 inning for Mike Leake. Good way to get it started. Reds coming to bat. Dusty Baker's starting lineup as the Reds come to bat here in the bottom of the first inning. Drew Stubbs, Edgar Renteria, Joey Votto at the top. Brandon Phillips, Miguel Cairo, Jay Bruce in the middle. With Chris Heisey, Ryan Hannigan, and Mike Leake at the bottom. Good looking pitcher is left-hander Madison Bumgarner. ERA at 3.5, and he's 3 games under 500.
Well, that's amazing, really. He was drafted in 2007 by the Giants out of high school. By 2009, he was in the major leagues. He's made 21 starts this year and 15 quality starts. So he and Mike Leake, really a couple of young pitchers who are quality start machines. He does it a little bit differently than Leake. He's got more of a power fastball, throws up around 92, 93, power slider, and a curveball, and a changeup.
First pitch swinging, let it send the ball. 1 pitch and 1 out. Take a look at the Giants on defense, presented by Ford. They have Shearholt starting left, Torres in center, and Beltran in right. Brandon Crawford gets a start at shortstop. Brandon Belt the start at first base for Aubrey Huff. And Chris Stewart starts tonight. So 5 of the 8 starting tonight that did not start last night. A new left fielder, a new center fielder, a new shortstop, first base, and catcher. Well, the hero last night in the last of the 13th inning, Edgar Renteria with that base hit on the stripe down the right field line. Now to Renteria. Reds come in 4 games under 500, 51 up, 55 down. There's a drive into left center field, and it is up against the wall. This will be a double for Renteria.
To see how I like hitting against his former team. Bumgarner gets a high fastball on a 3-1 count right in his wheelhouse.
Edgar Renteria safe at second base. He is safe. He is secure.
New York life.
Now Joey Votto. Our Farmers Insurance report card on Joey Votto. You may remember he got a breather earlier in the week against the Mets. Look what he's done since coming back. 7 out of 17, 3 home runs, 5 knocked in. That's just off the outside corner.
You watch Madison Bumgarner's pitching delivery and you realize, first of all, that he does a couple of things a lot of pitching coaches would not like. Number one, he throws across his body, but he gives you such a deceptive arm angle and release that he's very, very tough to pick up. That's why they've never tried to change him.
And there's a base hit into left field. They're going to hold Renteria third base. Shearholtz got to it and came up throwing. 8 of his last 18 now is Votto.
Well, you talk about a guy that loves to hit the ball to left field. Joey Votto. Look where the location of the pitch is. It's up and in, but he's waiting, trying to protect against that breaking ball, which makes him a little bit late on the fastball, but he's able to get his hands way inside, keep his left elbow right up against his rib cage, and rocket that ball to left. That guy is a flat-out great hitter.
A scoring chance in the opening inning now for the Reds for a second straight game. Make it a third straight game. They scored in the first inning in the finale against the Mets a couple of runs. They got 2 in the first inning last night. And now they're on the corners with only 1 out for Brandon Phillips. And this will be a base hit into left field to give the Reds a 1-0 lead.
The Reds are picking up some breaks. Balls are falling in the hole. Last night they did that early on here. Brandon Phillips hits the ball hard on the ground. If this goes right at the shortstop, it's a ground ball double play. But it finds a hole right between third and short. And a good swing by Brandon Phillips, as is shown our Exmo camera, right by the diving young Brandon Crawford. I think this is what Bruce Bochy's was afraid of. You know, the Reds lose 4 in a row to the Mets and look lifeless, without any kind of offense, no flow to them, and then they win last night in extra innings. Now you wonder what this ball club that has been high-powered all year long can do in this ballpark when they start getting on, you know, when they start cranking it up a little bit.
Phillips' 59th run batted in. Miguel Cairo down strike 1. Bumgarner ahead of Miguel at no balls, 2 strikes. Huge crowd on hand again tonight.
And really a nice night at the ballpark. It's cooled down a little bit, had a little bit of rain here earlier, and brought the temperature down a few degrees, and I think people are ready for a rock and rollin' Reds night tonight. And we talked about Bumgarner in our little checklist at the very end of the pregame show, and how it's very important to try to get to him early. Look at that earned run average in innings 1 through 3. If you let him get past that, very much like Ryan Vogelsong last night, Reds had him on the hook early, they let him off, and he really settled down and pitched a fine ball game.
And Cairo is hit with a 1-2 pitch. Must have got him pretty good, because he is limping on his way to first base.
Looks like a cutter or a slider that just keeps pouring right in on him, and it got him right above the knee. might look like he's all right now, but I guarantee you that leg is barking big time. He's just trying to get the feeling back in his feet. You know, you get numb all the way down from your knee down when you get hit right there.
Strike one to Jay Bruce. Reds with a chance to pick up a big crooked number on Bumgarner if Bruce can deliver. And he does. Into center field. This will bring in 2, and it is 3-0 Reds. The throw goes by the bag. And Cairo will stay put at third. It allows Bruce to go to second. Jay, a 2-run single.
Nice solid approach by Jay Bruce. Didn't try to do too much. Take it right back through the box. And man, that's a good swing by Bruce right there. He gets a pitch, drives in a couple. Cairo goes to third. The throw goes to the dugout. Hits that little fence in front of the dugout, and then Bruce will trot on into second base.
See, Cairo missed the third base bag, so he had to make sure that he went back to touch it before he even considered sprinting for the plate. Check swing and a miss by Chris Heisey. Well, you get a base hit here against this Giant team. Now, you never know which Giant team might show up offensively. But they've had a hard time putting up a lot of runs on the board against anybody this year. Put them in a 5-0 hole if Heisey can get a base hit. Two and one to Chris Heisey.
Well, very much like last night when the Reds ran the pitch count of Ryan Vogelsong up big time in the first inning. He threw 30 in the first last night, and this will be pitch number 21 for Bumgarner. Still only one out.
Chris's batting average is at .244. He has 12 home runs, 6 runs batted in. Reds 3 so far behind Mike Leake, looking for more on a 2-2 to Heisey. Giants have made up their mind. They are going to come in and come in and come in some more against Chris Heisey, at least with this left-hander on the mound.
Well, you know, his natural fastball cuts into a right-handed hitter. Kind of unusual for left-handers to do that. Reminds me a little bit of Al Leiter in that respect.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Hannigan waiting on deck.
Of course, the Reds are scheduled to face another left-hander tomorrow in Barry Zito when he takes the mound for that afternoon tilt.
Three-two pitch on Heisey. And it's into center field, and the Reds lead 5-0. How about the Redlegs here in the first inning?
Now it seems, Tom, for a long time that the Reds are used to giving up big numbers in the first inning. You know, we've chronicled it many times how their pitching staff has had a rough time getting it going. Well, tonight, Bruce Bochy can't believe what he's seeing out there. His very dependable left-hander, who comes in with an earned run average of 3.5, has given 5 up in the inning and still only 1 out.
Well, now Ryan Hannigan. .255 batter, 3 home runs, and even 20 runs batted in. course, both these teams had to go through a lot of guys in that bullpen last night. The Giants used Wilson, Casilla, Ramirez, Romo, Mota, and Lopez. The only pitcher in their bullpen that did not pitch was Affeldt. The Reds stayed away from Sam LeCure and Logan Andrusik, using Cordero, Massett, Arredondo, Bray, and Chapman. Four-pitch walk to Hannigan, and here comes Mike Leake.
Or Bumgarner in that at-bat against Brian Hannigan, it really looked like he was just aiming the ball. Trying to take a little bit off. It looks like his aggressiveness is gone, and he's normally a very aggressive pitcher. But when you look up and you've given up a 5 spot, and you think, man, everything that they hit has found a hole. The Reds have had 2 base hits up the middle, one in that 5.5 hole between short and third base, and 2 line drives to left. Mike Leake is no automatic out.
Well, now Mike Leake squares around, puts down the bunt. You can't roll it out there any better than that. And the runners advance. Let's go back to something we talk about. Chris's checklist. And a huge part of Reds Live virtually every day. Take a look at this. Chris, a check if you would. Next to early bummer. Put a check on the old telestrator next to that.
All right, that is
an early bummer for him. Bottom of the page. Lucky Leak.
Scoring a lot of runs for Mike Leake.
Comes out.
And so far, that's the easy one right there with so many different changes in the lineup. But you get Bumgarner early on, and that was part of the key. And I think that Reds have come out ready to play tonight.
Now Stubbs. Let's not forget, the first batter leading off the inning, Stubbs, grounded out to third
on the first pitch he saw.
7 straight Reds reach base before Leake just gave himself up for the second out of the inning. 2-0 to Drew Stubbs.
Pitch number 32 coming up for the Giant left-hander. Well, you got to figure Bruce Bochy is in such a tough spot right here. His pitching staff is depleted after an extra inning game last night. He's depending on Bumgarner to go deep into the ball game, and unless he really turns it around, that's not going to happen.
Boy, he is nowhere near the strike zone.
Dave Righetti will get on the phone and say, all right, whoever answers, warm up. Now, they're equivalent to Porky Lopez is
well, you're talking about their bullpen coach
Gardner.
down there. Absolutely, Mark Gardner, long-time major league
long-time right-handed pitcher. Shoot, I know Gardy, and I just had a little brain lapse right there, as happens to me about every 3 or 4 minutes. Sometimes more often.
Frequently, more often. They're loaded for Renteria. 2 outs in the inning. Edgar started this party with a 1-out double into left center field. Heisey, the runner at third. Ryan Hannigan at second. Drew Stubbs at first, and he fouls that ball off his foot. The next pitch will be the 37th pitch thrown in this first inning. by the Giant left-hander Madison Bumgarner. To pitch, fouled away. Oh, and to the count again on Renteria, and again he fouls it off. Well, he's wearing out that foot.
When you're a right-handed hitter and you're facing a left-hander whose fastball and slider continue to just pour right in on you, they go down and inside, and that's the sensitive spot for Renteria. Once you bang it up there once, you put a brace on. It won't protect the armor like he's got. And then you proceed to hit it. It seems like every time you see something down and in.
Well, now you're already numb. Pitch number 40 for Bumgarner coming up. And a called strike 3 by Vic Carapazza. Well, Chris's checklist. An early bummer for Madison, and Mike Leake lucky to have a 5-0 lead. To talk with him before the ball game today. You know, when he started this rehab assignment out at the Goodyear complex in Arizona, they actually had him starting games, but that was just to start building up his pitch count and get innings in. Said he feels really good right now, and he might be a guy that could help that bullpen. Well, Mike Leake set down the side 1-2-3 in the first inning. His team scores him 5 in the bottom of the inning. So here we are in the second. And it's ball 1 to Pablo Sandoval, a.k.a. Kung Fu Panda. He was doing this in batting practice, put on a show, and he's carried it into the game. That is way back. And it's a 5-1 ball game on the home run by Pablo Sandoval.
Bruce Bochy before the ball game was wondering when his ball club was going to take advantage of playing in hitter-friendly ballparks. They just came from Philadelphia where they hit a couple of home runs in their series there. One of them was a pinch hit home run. But he was really bemoaning the fact that there's not a lot of power in and around this Giants lineup. I would say except for Sandoval.
We saw a game earlier today on the Fox network where the Chicago Cubs got out to a 5-0 first inning lead against the Cardinals. The Cubs did not score again. The Cardinals scored 13 times. That's a foul ball off the bat of Nate Shearholtz. The Reds on defense presented by Ford. It's Stubbs flanked by Heisey and Bruce in the outfield. Cairo Votto on the corners. Renteria and Phillips up the middle. Leake and Hannigan the battery. 2-2 on Nate Shearholtz. Three-two pitch. Struck him out swinging. That's the second of the game for Mike Leake.
Took a little bit off the fastball. It looked like that time Mike Leake tried to sink it perhaps, and sinking action it has right at the very last moment as it gets over to the plate. Like a slider that really had more depth in it than it had side-to-side movement. Mike Leake's a tough guy to chart. So many of his pitches blend together. He's got ones that he kind of cuts, makes him go one way. Another time he works his fingers over the top, makes him go another way. He changes speeds, adds and subtracts on nearly all of his pitches. You're not sure what they are. You just know that they have a lot of movement.
Well, he's fallen behind the first baseman Brandon Belt. 2 balls and no strikes.
It's got a nice swing.
Playing his 28th game. He has 16 hits and 70 at bats. That one rolled over foul, and the Giants are very excited about his future. Well, he was tearing it up in the minors. Not a lot of power. 7 home runs in 47 games, but a very good hitter. He's batting .335 for their AAA team. Just turned 23 years old, and last year he went from single A to double A to triple A. And that's the kind of hitter he is right there. That one shot down the left field line, and that is a double.
It kind of reminded me of a little Joey Votto swing right there. Waits the very last second to kind of start the bat. Tries to keep the angle of the bat where you cover the strike zone from the top down. And he just waits a long time. And if you swing with a good downward motion and not carve it and kind of scoop at the ball, that ball will stay more straight for you and not, go slicing off and into the out of play area.
A home run, a strikeout, now a double to start the Giants' second inning. And here's Brandon Crawford. About how to play a strike. We were talking about Belt. Last year was his first year of professional baseball. Young man who had been drafted in 3 times over a 4-year time frame by Boston in the 11th round of 06, Atlanta 11th round 07, Giants 5th round of 09. Hit 23 home runs last year. Knocked in 112 runs. Sometimes you got to take a long look at the home run power when you're talking about leagues up and down the California coast, and that's where he was, single A, double A, and then the PCL for the final 13 games of the year. Liner right at Renteria, 2 outs.
Meaning they're more hitters leagues or they're more pitchers leagues?
Oh yeah, hitters league.
The PCL definitely a hitters league.
Well,
no
so is the Cal league.
Okay.
Cal League might be even more so than the PCL. I mean, they have some launching pads. Very hot. A lot of inland cities. You never pitched in the Cal League, did you?
I did not, no.
You were coming up through the Yankees organization. So you were pitching in the
They
Eastern
had a
League.
team out there in Tacoma, Washington, but only for a year or 2. I just spent about a month out there.
Now Chris Stewart. And there's a strike. Well, did you give up any long balls in a PCL?
No, not in the PCL.
Dealing.
Of course, I didn't go around that long out there. If you give me a chance, I would have got used to it and got back to my normal self.
You and I were talking. I mean, you had some really, really very impressive minor league seasons coming up. I mean, I'm not being facetious when I say this. I mean, you were talking about the guy scout we ran into the other day. I think a Giant scout who was called up ahead of you one year, and your numbers at the time, would you have like 14 complete games or something ridiculous?
That was Stan Selesky. And they've been in town, obviously, watching the Reds for a long time in preparation for the Giants, obviously, but also trying to do some wheeling and dealing. I had a great first year going, and they called up somebody else to A-ball. I was in rookie ball. I'm like, I steamed into that manager's office. I said, what do they mean? I'm the best pitcher on this team, right? He said, just settle down. We'll let you know when you're going up, if you're going up.
2-2 the count on Stewart. But what were your numbers that year? You and I were talking about. I mean, they were outrageous.
Well, I had a lot of complete games. I had 12 complete games and 14 starts.
That's pretty good.
That's after pitching a full college season. But I got to tell you, that's before pitch counts. I guarantee you there are many games I pitched probably 140, 150 pitches. Not many, but a few.
And off the end of the bat, fly ball into left field. This will end the inning. Giants get a run. They send the ball home run. Reds lead 5-1. who will be featured on our new show, Boys in the Hall, airing tomorrow after the game. FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. Reds 5, Giants 1. Joey Votto to lead things off here in the Cincinnati second. To be followed by Brandon Phillips and Miguel Cairo. Votto singled into left field and scored in the opening frame. A 40-pitch opening inning for Madison Bumgarner. There's a fly ball towards Shearholtz. 1 out. Well, as always, tomorrow and every day, you can get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the game with our Emmy Award-winning rendition of Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And, of course, Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro will have it for you tomorrow, beginning at 12:30. And our game coverage gets underway at 1 o'clock. Expecting another very big crowd tomorrow. Faith Day at the ballpark tomorrow. And the Christian band, rock band Mercy Me, will be playing a free concert if you have a ticket to the game after the game tomorrow. Brandon got the 5-run first inning officially on the board, knocking in the first run of the inning with a single into left field. Fly ball, pretty well hit, right center field, going back Beltran at the track. All right, so now you have Bumgarner, who threw 40 pitches in that first inning. Chris, you talked about this last night. It was a very tough first inning in the game for Ryan Vogelsong. It was a tough second inning for Ryan Vogelsong. I mean, he was up over 50 pitches after 2 innings of the game.
And then he settled down, and the Reds began to help him out a little bit. He started throwing more strikes. The Reds went up and started swinging the bat as soon as they left the on-deck circle. I mean, I really think for a guy that struggled the way he did in the first inning, you ought to do what Miguel Cairo did right there. Go ahead and make this guy show me he can throw me a strike.
Well, you look at Bumgarner's overall season numbers, and he has just simply outstanding control. Yes, there are nights where you start a game and you just don't have it, and clearly he did not have it. In the first inning, he hit Cairo on a 1-2 pitch. Later walked Hannigan on 4 pitches, walked Stubbs on 4 pitches.
Well, his control is of historic proportions with the San Francisco Giants. In all of his 19 of his starts this year, he has given up 2 base on balls or less. So he makes you put the ball in play if you're going to beat him.
Into right center field, and a nice sliding catch by Torres. A 1-2-3 second, and the 2 Reds lead 5-1. Our Geico Direct quote from Jay Bruce. I think everybody feels that way about Edgar Renteria. I mean, he's had his ups, he's had his downs, but man, with a game on the line, he's a guy that has proven during his entire career that he's a guy you like having in a batter's box.
Really unbelievable, Tom, because he is 5 hits in 9 at-bats in extra innings this year. That is exactly what he was last year with the San Francisco Giants in extra innings, 5 for 9. Over the last 5 years for Edgar Renteria, he is batting .423 in extra innings, 22 hits, 52 at-bats. And so, obviously, Jay Bruce knows of what he speaks when he talks about Edgar Renteria as we go extra frames.
Pitcher against pitcher to begin the third. The Reds scored 5 in the first inning. Giants got a home run from Pablo Sandoval to begin the second.
Bumgarner kind of a rarity. I mean, oftentimes you'll see a right-handed pitcher bat left-handed, or a right-handed thrower be a left-handed hitter, but rarely do you see a guy that's a lefty come up there and bat right-handed. I think Randy Johnson was one of those, if I'm not mistaken, that was a right-handed hitter, left-handed thrower.
Yep. Gas. Talking about Randy.
That looked like gas to Bumgarner.
Yes, it did.
It's all relative.
That's right.
Well, that's a favorite spot for Leake right there on those left-handers. He throws a little bit of a cutter, takes a little bit off his fastball, throws it right off the plate inside, and it looks so good coming in there. And it seems when they just swing right over the top of it.
You know, it's funny you bring up that thing about not only pitchers, but really in the history of the game. And I'm sure I'm wrong on it being only one guy. But I thought I had heard when Rickey Henderson went in the Hall of Fame that he was one of no more than a handful of players, position players. Forget the pitchers, and I know that's what you were talking about. But there have not been many players in the history of the game that are in baseball's Hall of Fame as position players that threw left-handed and batted right-handed. There's strike 3 to Torres.
I believe you're right. That might be a question for our man on the spot, Joe Luckham.
And, you know, again, I'm sure I'm wrong, or I heard it wrong, or something like that. And Lord knows I'm wrong a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
But I thought I heard one time that Henderson was actually the first Hall of Fame player that threw left-handed and hit right-handed.
I remember something like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're right this time.
I mean, it's a lot of players, man. There's a fly ball into left center field. Heisey giving chase, and he'll run it down at the track. Heisey got a great jump on it and tracks it at the track to end the inning. Kentucky, who currently owns a 2011 Land Cruiser Mercy. He'll win that new Tundra here at the ballpark, and you can register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game. To stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Reds 5, Giants 1 after 2.5. Jay Bruce, Chris Heisey, Ryan Hannigan in the Reds' third. Bruce a 2-run single his first time up and later scored. You know what, Chris? Joe Luckett was digging around that question we asked, and I thought I heard it right. I did hear it right.
Good for you.
Ricky Henderson is the only position player in baseball's Hall of Fame that threw left and hit right. The other 4 who match that criteria are 4 pitchers. Hubble, Waddell, Terrace Park, Ohio's very own Epirixi, and Sandy Koufax.
Left-handed throwers, right-handed hitters.
And Randy Johnson will join that group about 3 years from now.
Now, that's cross-eyed dominant right there. When you throw one way and you hit the other way. There are a lot of major league hitters who are cross-eyed dominant. Most of them are right-handed throwers, left-handed hitters. But in the general population, I read somewhere where there's something like 30% of people are cross-eyed dominant. But in Major League Baseball, that percentage is way higher than that. And maybe it's because from an early age, some coaches or fathers take their right-handed hitting son and say, you know what, we're going to turn you around and make you a left-hander, so all those curveballs you see in high school are coming into you instead of breaking away from you.
Ran one to Chris Heisey. And he got jammed with that pitch. May have jammed himself with that pitch. It's in the air to left field, and there are 2 outs in the inning. Well, Reds fans, 100 days of summer sweepstakes means 100 days of great prizes. Text SUMMER to 37664, and you're registered for everything the rest of the way. Message and data rights to apply. By the way, if you're wondering, talked about the one position player Hall of Famer, threw left, hit right. There are 41 Hall of Famers who hit left, through right.
You've completely qualified me now for information overload.
Well, believe me, it doesn't take a whole lot to accomplish that.
You're not going to name them, are you?
No.
Okay.
Ryan Hannigan, a count of 0-2. Bumgarner piling up the strikes now. Threw 40 pitches in the first inning. And he's thrown 19 ever since. And again, a 4-pitch walk his first time up. And he's out on strikes, and that'll retire the side. Back-to-back perfect innings for Bumgarner. We go to the 4th, where the Reds lead by 4.
10% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO.
On to National League Central Division standings, including a victory earlier today for the Cardinals over the Cubs. And you get a look at the Pirates trailing the Phillies in the 4th inning, and Milwaukee has jumped on Houston up in the state of Wisconsin. Here the Reds, a 5-run first inning, lead 5-1. And Mike Leake will face Carlos Beltran, Pablo Sandoval, and Nate Shearholtz here in the Giant 4th. Beltran struck out his first time up. Brandon Phillips.
Well, you just think about the last 2 outs the Reds have made. The running catch in the gap by Chris Heisey took away an extra base hit from Keppinger. This one, a running, sliding, diving stop by Brandon Phillips, and he throws out Beltran. Makes it look so easy, but I mean, this is what you're talking about with the Reds ball club. They intertwine pitching and defense so closely that's why their pitching staff is what it is. I mean, quite frankly, their pitchers aren't what the Giants are, but their defense is up to anybody out there. And you save extra pitches, extra outs. Oh. How could you do that to me, Brandon? Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions and better results, JTM.
One on, one out, and here's Shearholtz, who struck out back in the 2nd inning. Strike 1.
Gonna give him a hit, huh? You know, call me old school, but I still think that when you can, you should get in front of the ball. Of course, I like the curve in my cap, too.
Two on Shearholtz. Sandoval held on over there by Votto. Only 3 stolen base attempts for the Giant third baseman, who's missed a lot of time this year. He had that wrist injury, and you see he still wears a brace on that thing. The Reds did not see Sandoval during the 4-game series when the Reds were out in San Francisco earlier in the season. He can swing that bat, and they missed him when he wasn't in that lineup. Look out. And thankfully, everybody's all right over there. Two on Shearholtz. Struck him out again. That's 5 of them in the game for Mike Leake, and 2 are out here in the 4th.
Well, they struck him out the last time on a changeup, and this time he goes upstairs just at the very top of the strike zone. And, you know, Mike Leake can add a little bit to that fastball when he needs it. He pitches at about 90% effort, and then when he needs that extra fastball, he's got it left in the tank. Perfect spot right there, especially against a left-hander.
Now Brandon Belt, he doubled down the left field line in the 2nd inning. Leaked one of that call, didn't get it.
Yeah, he likes to stay right down there. Belt had a little bit of a setback this year. He was hit by a pitch from Trevor Miller of St. Louis, and he had a hairline fracture in his left wrist. That was back in June the 4th. It took about a month or so to recover from that. When you get hit by a pitch as a hitter and you're riding the wrist, sometimes it takes more than a month to get back and get your strength, though.
Phillips down on one knee to make sure this time, and that'll retire the side. A hit and a man left. Middle of the 4th. The Reds 5 and the Giants 1.
To the game for a free post-game faith concert featuring Grammy award-winning band Mercy Me, presented by Prasco. For tickets to see your Reds battle the world champions, dial 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com.
Strike one to Mike Leake. Reds come to bat here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Reds got 5 runs off Madison Bumgarner in the first inning. 5 hits. He hit a batter, walked a couple of guys, and now he's getting on a roll. 8 in a row retired by the Giant left-hander. And Chris, how about our AT&T trivia question tonight? You've been on a roll.
All right, let's find out. Before the Giants and the Dodgers moved to California in 1958, what was the westernmost team in Major League Baseball? I thought I knew the answer.
Really?
But I was wrong. I was corrected.
Okay.
Not a trick question. A geography question.
That is a fair ball, and that's a base hit for a Drew Stowe.
Man, if you could only lay a bunt down like that at will with his speed, you'd add about 40 points to his batting average. So the Reds reached their speediest of all, and Bumgarner, if you want to know, Tom, I know you're going to ask me, I'll tell you ahead of time. 10 stolen bases, 6 throw 'em outs. However, he has picked off 2, so he's got a decent move. That's not it. You know, most left-handers, they try to be coy. They've got an A move and they've got a B move. The A move is, hey, I'm throwing over. I really don't have a good move. Look how bad I am. The B move is the one where, oops. Oh, how about that? He's got a C. Actually, he's got a B1 move that's called a balk. And that is his first of the season. That little hiccup right there is what happened. And usually when that happens, the catcher gives you a sign, you think you've got it, and then he changes it at the last second. And it's a miscommunication. So that's a break for the Reds.
Another little roller in the infield, but this time Sandoval gets there and throws it away, and the Reds are going to get a run.
Talk about a manufactured run. The Reds have not hit the ball 70 feet total in this inning, and they've scored a run. Sandoval rushes the throw, throws it right into the dirt. And Drew Stubbs, who went to second base on a balk, will waltz right on in. So back to a 5-run lead.
An error on Sandoval, and that allows Stubbs to come in from second base, Renteria to go to second base. And here's Joey Votto, who singled, scored, and fly to left. And the Reds have matched their largest lead of the night. Fastball runs in on Votto. He's able to fight it off and out of play. You know, you were talking about a base runner and being able to bother a pitcher out on the mound. Eric Davis, former great Red, is in town. Of course, he works for the organization, and we were talking. There's Eric hanging out with Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, and he was talking about that's a fair ball. And to get the out at first, he was talking about the young man we've heard so much about, Billy Hamilton, who this year has 75 stolen bases. At single A Dayton, he's only been thrown out 15 times. Eric went and watched a game he played in Dayton the other night. He said the kid draws a walk. He said the pitcher tries to pick him off, throws in the dirt, Hamilton goes to third base. The pitcher, concerned about him, balks him to third. The next ball out of his hand is a wild pitch, and Hamilton scores. So he goes from first to second to third to home, and one pitch was thrown in that sequence. He said, Eric made a comment. He said he's not quite sure he has ever seen a kid with less fear in his life about stealing bases. He said, never seen anything like this guy.
You know, it's interesting, Tom, you bring him up because, of course, here we are at the eve of the trading deadline. Ends tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And from what I've read, and Walt Jocketty hasn't come out and publicly said this, but what I said, from what I understand, there are two untouchables in this organization in the minor. One is Devin Mesoraco, who will be the next catcher up here at some point. And the other, I understand, is Billy Hamilton. That don't even call and ask about those guys.
Well, Hamilton apparently got off to a very slow start with a bat. He was batting in the 220s most of the year. Eric said before the game now he's up around 270. In 211 minor league games, Hamilton has 137 stolen bases. That's almost beyond belief that anybody has that many stolen bases in that number of games. And if you're wondering, for those of you wondering, he is a shortstop. 1-2 to Brandon, who is singled. Knocked in a run in the first, scored, and flied out to the warning track and right.
Well, right now, Billy Hamilton just looked it up, Tom. 256 hitter down there. He's hit a couple of home runs, driven in 38, 75 stolen bases, had a .320 on base percentage. I've always thought, you know, having gone through the minor leagues like most everybody around, that it's harder to hit in the low minors than it is in the upper minor leagues. Because down there you got guys with big league stuff, but amateur location. And you're not really sure where that ball is going. And sometimes you can't scout anybody because you're not sure what their out pitch is. I mean, it's really just raw baseball. Fun to watch. Good young talent, yes. But I think he'll get better and better, hopefully, as he goes up the ladder. Tell you what, against right-handers, though, his on-base percentage is .340. So Billy Hamilton, who is a switch hitter, he throws right. From down in the Cowboy State, Mississippi.
Yeah, apparently he's a young man that could have gone either to Mississippi or Mississippi State on a football scholarship.
6'1", 160.
Decided to go baseball. I would imagine he was probably like that running back out of the backfield, say like a Percy Harvin was in Florida.
Well, if you're playing down there in the SEC, you better run fast at 160.
There's ball 4 up and away.
Hey, speaking of Mississippi, we forgot last night to congratulate our partner Jeff Bradley.
Yep.
On being inducted into the State of Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. Last night they had a big dinner. They had a whole different location that they've had it in years past because it was so oversold. They had over 1,000 people there. A big night, and we congratulate Jeff, the Cowboy. Job well done.
Indeed. Congratulations. That's a great honor. Of course, a lot of people think the Cowboy grew up in Mississippi. He actually grew up in Alabama.
Yeah.
And then played collegiately in Mississippi State, as you pointed out, and has made his home there. His wife is a native of Mississippi and has lived in the greater Jackson, Mississippi area for a long time. You ever been to Jackson, Mississippi?
I have not. How about you?
Yep. Flew in there and drove down to Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Ah.
That's a very nice campus down there. Southern Miss, the hometown of Brett Favre. 2 on, 2 out for Miguel Cairo. Reds with a 6-1 lead over the Giants here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Cairo hit by a pitch, scored a run in the 1st inning, lined out to Torres in center field, ending the 2nd. Foul, still 0-2. Base hit in the left. They're going to wave around Renteria. Here comes a throw to the plate. It is not in time. It gets away, and both runners will take an extra base.
And Madison Bumgarner, who has got a ticket out there, a box seat to watch the game right between home plate and pitcher's mound, she was nowhere to be found when that ball went by the catcher to back up. So he's hoping that doesn't turn around and burn him. The Reds have found the holes tonight. Miguel Cairo adds on. He's already scored a run, got on base with a hit by pitch earlier, and he drives a run in right there with a ball in that hole between third and short. Now, if you're a pitcher, you got to get back there and back up at some point. because you never know when that ball is going to get by the catcher. I know he's frustrated, and that's the reason why he didn't do that. Now he gets exposed when the ball goes all the way to the screen.
Well, they're going to leave him in there at least for one more batter, and that's against a left-handed hitting Jay Bruce. 5 in the first, 2 here in the fourth, and a 7-1 lead.
The Giants just came from Philadelphia, where they split a 4-game series with the Phillies. 3 here. Then they only come back to the East Coast, or at least back to this part of the country one more time, where they've got a set against the Atlanta Braves and then the Florida Marlins in the middle of August. Well, you talk to the players and coaches of the Giants, and you go through Philadelphia in July and Cincinnati in late July. And they cannot wait to get back off the airplane in San Francisco, where they probably be 60 degrees when they step down their stairs.
A high fly ball on the right that'll end the inning. Reds get a couple of more thanks to a couple of hits and a couple of errors, and lead at the end of 4, 7-1 game. Hey, we want to send out get well wishes to a good friend, a good guy who comes around the ballpark cast for so many years, Mr. Dick Butcher, who's at Clinton Memorial Hospital up in Wilmington, Ohio. He is the father of the Reds Director of Media Relations, Rob Butcher. I understand you haven't been feeling too well here recently, Dick, and our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Want to get Dick well. You know what? He hit a line drive off of me at a fantasy camp a few years ago. The sound of that ball hitting that bat still ringing in my ear.
Really?
Oh. I've given up some hits to some celebrities before, like Jeff Pecoro, Tim Kremchek, but those were little scratch ground ball numbers. Right. The one that Dick Butcher hit was a shot.
Nice.
And I wanted to get him back, get him well. So I owe him one in the ribs.
Yeah, get him well so you can drill it.
Exactly.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I got a long memory. In fact, I got his name written inside my cap.
It's quite obvious as soon as I said his name. Talk about a rocket he hit off of here. So one hopper to Brandon Phillips. That's why Brandon Crawford. Now Chris Stewart Aubrey Huff is standing in the on-deck circle. He'll bat for Bumgarner, whose night is over. And a mighty rough night for the talented Giants left-hander. Gives up 7 hits and 7 runs in 4 innings tonight. Walked 3 batters, and that's so rare for him. Chris talked about it earlier. 19 of his prior 21 starts, he had walked 2 or less. Hit a batter and struck out 4. Well, we continue to turn back the clock to about 5 minutes before 7 o'clock tonight on Chris's checklist. There's a tapper that Renteria can't handle, and he'll be charged with an error.
Well, it hasn't been very good defensive played game so far. The Giants have 3 errors. That is the first official error on the Reds. They could have 2. That said, there have been some pretty great plays made. Heisey made a nice running catch. Brandon Phillips made a nice sliding catch on a Beltran ground ball. Looking for a double play right here.
Up batting for Bumgarner. Strike 1.
I got to tell you, Tom, you know, that checklist, the creative part of that checklist is a collective and group effort. Joe Luckup, our statistician, Jesse Jackson, Matt Sigafus was up here today helping us out with that. I don't know, was Roy Alfers up here at that time, Jesse, helping us with the checklist? Yeah.
Dickie Moss chimes in.
Dickie Moss, absolutely. But Tom Brenneman, he was in parts unknown.
You know, there's a fly ball to right, and Bruce is there for the second out of the inning. And forgive me while I get out from under the bus. Come for the Reds and stay for more fun. Visit the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden and make it a weekend getaway. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com.
I'll let you know when we meet again.
Believe me, I'll know. Just make sure the train at least gives me a chance, or the bus blows its horn or something. Andres Torres is 0 for 2, has bounced to Votto and struck out. Center field, a base hit by Torres. Advancing on to second is Stewart. So now Jeff Keppinger bats with 2 on and 2 out. The Reds leading 7-1 in the 5th. Keppinger is grounded out to Votto, and he was robbed of extra bases on that nice play made by Heisey. And Renteria has kicked away his second ground ball of the inning. It's a 7-2 game.
Well, that was about as easy a hop as you will find right there. He must have just taken his eye off of it at the last second. Really unusual for a veteran player like Renteria, who throughout his career has been known as a real good glovesman.
Well, Renteria going to be the guy right in on that meeting with Mike Leake and the catcher, and you know what Edgar said to Mike Leake. I mean, Renteria, stand-up guy all the way.
And I'll tell you what he didn't say. He didn't say, "I'm sorry." He said, "You have the next one hit to me, and I'll take care of it." You don't think he wants to beat his old team worse than anybody? Especially after they didn't offer him the type of contract that he thought he deserved in the offseason after being the MVP of the World Series. He wants to see 3 L's on the way out of town as these Giants hit the road back to San Francisco.
Well, now you don't want to let this thing get away from you here. Reds had a 7-1 lead. That should have been the final out of the inning without a run crossing the plate. Now all of a sudden you have Beltran up there with 2 on. Beltran in the game is struck out and was robbed of a hit on that sliding play made by Brandon Phillips. Runners on the corners and 2 men out. Mike Leake misses a Wade, even the count of the ball and a strike. Leake should have been through this inning in 1-2-3 order. Got a ground out to start it. The first of 2 errors charged to Renteria allowed Stewart to reach. Then the pinch hitter Huff should have been the final out on a fly ball to right. Strike 2 on Beltran.
Well, what a great pitch right there by Mike Leake. All game long he's been throwing this breaking ball that goes in here and cuts this way. But that time he throws a ball and it does the exact opposite. Starts inside, comes back over the plate, and just freezes Beltran. Now you come back in with that little cutter. That's what they're going to do. And there's no way you keep that pitch fair. Yeah, that's the thing that really makes Mike Leake so effective. He's able to pitch to the glove side of the plate. For him, that's the first base side. You've got to have good direction with your delivery and get way out over your front leg to do that. Clear your hips. And he gets that ball in on left-handies as well as any right-hander around.
Two and 2 on Beltran. Leake a long look in, okaying the side with Hannigan. And now it's ball 3. Well, you've got Sandoval standing on deck. The runner at first will get started, Jeff Keppinger. 2 errors in this inning have given the Giants some hope. Even down by 5, we're only in the 5th inning. Leake's got to make a pitch. In the air left field, Leake does make a pitch. That's big league work by Leake. 14 and younger will take home a kid's soft-sided lunchbox thanks to Chick-fil-A. For tickets, call 381-REDS, area code 513 area code, or log on to reds.com. All right, Chris, how about our trivia answer tonight?
All right, the question: before the Giants and Dodgers moved to California back in 1958, what was the westernmost team in Major League Baseball? And the answer is not Cincinnati, not St. Louis, but Kansas City. The Kansas City Athletics between 55 and 67. That was before they moved to Oakland. 10 years after the Giants and the Dodgers did.
Well, you had me. I would have been wrong, too. Did you guess St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yep. New pitcher now on to replace Madison Bumgarner. It's Santiago Casilla. We saw him in the game here last night. He worked an inning, a lot of hit and no runs. Brought up his numbers last night. Very good opponent batting average, very low ERA. The only hiccup, 25 and a third innings. You see the 13 walks. Pitching in his 25th game. Of course, the Reds did not give him a chance to really get into any kind of control problems last night. A lot of swinging very early in the count when he came on in the 7th. One out in the inning. Ryan Hannigan has walked and struck out. Reds will wrap up the 10-game homestand with an afternoon game tomorrow. 1:10 first pitch. Johnny Cueto will get the ball against Giant left-hander Barry Zito. And the Reds will go to Houston starting on Monday night for a 3-game set there. Off day Thursday. And start a Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend set against the Cubs.
On paper, you got to like that matchup tomorrow for the Reds. In fact, the last time Cueto pitched against the Giants, he beat Madison Bumgarner 3-0. That was out in San Francisco. Boy, Cueto was on his game that day.
Of course, I can't remember a start this year where he wasn't. And the Reds played that very poor defensive game earlier in the homestand when Cueto gave up 6 unearned runs.
Only got 5 innings out of him that day, right?
He has had just a great season. And of course, he missed the first month plus of it, beginning the year on the DL. But Chris, you know how it goes. I mean, how many times year after year, really series after series, week after week, during the course of the baseball season, do you have matchups like that where it's so heavily tilted? You know, on paper anyway, and doesn't always mean that's the way it turns out in this game.
You know, it's just like you have 2 great pitchers going against each other, and you're expecting a 1-0 ball game. You look up in the 5th inning, it's 9-8. Both guys are already showered and gone. Boy, Casilla trying to get into some Cocina, which would be kitchen. He got into Chris Heisey's kitchen, popped him up to second base, and going right back in there to Ryan Hannigan.
2-2 the count on Ryan Hannigan, and Casilla delivers, and it's in the air off the end of the bat. Shallow right. Easy play for Beltran. 2 out. That'll bring Mike Leake to the plate. Final minutes of a little bit of daylight left on a far less humid day than we have had of late here in Cincinnati. It's been scorching all across the country the entire week.
Don't you love the way it stays light here such a long time?
Love it. The only thing that's strange is, and you know this, you have little guys at home. The thing that's so odd is on the nights when we are at home and not playing baseball is, our guys are so young, you're getting them in bed by 8:30 at night, and I mean, you better start taping up the curtains against the wall to expect them to be able to be ready to go to sleep.
Better believe it.
Which a lot of people may not know, that's the way you travel. You bring along that duct tape, and you get the tape along the curtains and all that kind of thing.
Look like a bat cave in there. Crank that air conditioner down about as cold as it can go. Then for real fun, you turn the hot water on in the shower, let it run for a while, door closed, and you swing that door open, and when that heat and that warm humid front hits that cold front, it rains right at the doorway. Why don't you try that one by Tim Hendricks next
I'll try
time,
that again. Yeah, I'll get on that in Chicago next week. Reds lead 7-2 at the end of 5.
Came up and really set the baseball world on fire with this play at shortstop. The rookie on the 15-day disabled list with that hyperextended left elbow. Earlier today, he took ground balls at shortstop and afterward reported no problem whatsoever. And it is on his catching hand, if you will, or catching arm. So the one test that he needs to pass is facing live pitching. He has yet to take batting practice with live pitching. That will be the next step. But in hyperextended elbow, there have been many players that have been out for extended periods of time. So far, so good. All reports report to him being back earlier than later.
Well, Jim, thank you very much. Zach Cozart, what an impressive start to his major league career. 12 hits in his first 37 big league at-bats, spanning 11 games, couple of home runs. And remember his final at bat on the last homestand. He hit his first big league home run, then his first at bat to open this homestand against Atlanta. He hit a home run, but then got injured in that Saturday afternoon game and has been out a week and a day. course, you saw Zach sitting down there next to Scott Rowland. That's the starting left side of the Reds infield, both on the disabled list right now. It's like a bionic arm there. That's a shrewd move right there by Zach Cozart. If you've got to sit next to somebody during a Reds game on the bench, somebody who's not in the game, that's a guy you want to sit next to right there.
I was thinking the same thing. You think in a conversation like that between Rowland and Cozart that Rowland thinks every once in a while, looks over and sees Cozart and says, you know what, I was once this young kid sitting right here, maybe next to a veteran on the bench in Philadelphia just coming up. I know exactly what he's feeling, and I'm going to give him what they gave me.
Well, you know, that's what they talk about when they talk about a good, solid veteran player. It doesn't always have to be the most productive player on the team. Miguel Cairo could just as easily be that guy that Cozart is sitting next to on the bench. Doesn't have to be a guy like Rowland, who's probably headed for the Hall of Fame one day. I mean, if Cairo or Rowland were healthy, it'd be Cairo sitting down there, and Cozart would do well to be sitting alongside him.
Of course, if you had your preference, you'd like to see them standing next to each other out there on the dirt.
Yes.
That guy can hit.
Man, can he hit. He can really hit. Well, we take a peek ahead of the next homestand. That'll be Friday, August 12th. Reds and the Padres stick around after the game for a Sweet Life fireworks show. Special appearance by TV stars Dylan and Cole Sprouse, and a soundtrack featuring themes from kids, movies, and shows. Thanks to Danimals and our friends at Kroger. 381 Reds or visit Reds.com. Sweet Life. Everybody who has youngsters, they know all about that show. There's a fly ball to left field. Heisey never saw it.
Now, we were talking earlier, Tom, about this time of day, how late it stays light. You've got a period of about 20 minutes. And it happens everywhere, but here it happens closer to 9 o'clock than any other time of the night, where the lights of the stadium haven't really taken over because it's not dark enough behind them, and you just lose the ball in the atmosphere. Got a little gray sky tonight, which doesn't help any much either. So Mike Leake will be challenged again. Give the Giants an extra out.
Has scored a double. And now Brandon Belt. Leake's had to throw at least, I mean, the last half inning alone, had to throw at least 20 extra pitches. Because he should have been out of the last inning 1, 2, 3. Ended up having to face 3 more batters. This kid just looks like a good hitter standing in the box. We've already seen his swing and hit that ball hard down a left field line for a double his first time up. Hit the ball very hard right at Brandon Phillips his last time up. So calm. That's a good pitch by Leake. Got way in on him, and that's out number 2 of the inning.
I can tell you one thing. Brandon Belt did not face many pitchers in the PCL, that right-handers that pitch as effectively inside as Mike Leake does. I mean, he doesn't miss. I mean, you see that. We show you that grid, the strike zone there, the Fox tracks. And when he goes inside, when he misses, he's in off the plate. He doesn't miss over the center of the plate. But that ball looks like it's going to hit him in the belt buckle. It comes right back over the plate. It's just so difficult for a left-handed hitter to really believe that ball's not going to hit you. He's just eating these left-handers up inside.
Now Brandon Crawford works him inside off the edge. Crawford is lined out to Renteria, bounced out to Brandon Phillips in the fifth.
In a ballpark like this, if you don't do that as a right-hander and you just try to pick that outside corner all day long, real good left-handers are going to take you out of the ballpark going oppage.
One account on Brandon Crawford. Rumors running rampant that Ubaldo Jimenez of the Colorado Rockies, who is on the mound tonight and has already walked 3 batters in the very first inning, might be on his way to Cleveland. There's a swing and a miss, and that'll end the inning. A double, a man left, middle to 6. Reds lead by 5. Of the game, you always wonder, what if this play's not made and Andres Torres is safe at first? But the play was made. And that's a Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Girls' night out tonight. A trio hanging out, having a good time watching the ball game. You wonder how many games that lovely lady in the middle has been to. Going all the way back to Crosley Field, through Riverfront Stadium and all the years there, and now Great American Ballpark. We meet so many Reds fans that have been following this team since they were little kids, now in their 70s, 80s, 90s. I didn't realize that was a family of Mark Porta. Mark and I go way back to our days at Channel 5 together, like so many of our Unbelievably talented crew each and every day here at Great American Ballpark. That's a camera that Mark operates. Takes those high-tech, smart Anderson guys to handle that. There's a swing and a miss by Stubbs, 1 out. Santiago Casilla is beginning his 2nd inning of work. He had a 1-2-3 fifth. Win a VIP baseball experience presented by Captain Morgan. Go to Reds.com/captain. Edgar Renteria has doubled, scored, struck out, reached on an error, and scored again. Two and one on Edgar. Joey Votto to follow. Huge crowd, beautiful night in downtown Cincinnati. Waiting to find out if it's officially a sellout crowd tonight. Sure looks like it. Tapper down to Sandoval to the glove side, 2 out. Next homestand, the Reds are going to get a look at a team they have not seen all year long. The Colorado Rockies, after they get back from a trip through Houston and Chicago. The Rockies come to town, and then they'll take on a team in the San Diego Padres they have not seen since their very first road trip of the year. Well, that first road trip seems like 3 years ago. It started in Phoenix when we had all that rain. And then on to San Diego for a 3-game set where the Reds played beautifully in that series. They got kicked around by the Diamondbacks a little bit. Well, we're starting to talk, Chris, about the trade wins, and of course they're blowing, they're swirling all around Major League Baseball with a trade deadline tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time. But the one that apparently has some legs, at least to it, Ubaldo Jimenez to the Cleveland Indians.
Of course, the Yankees have been rumored to be in on the Jimenez deal as well. And the Reds early on were prominently listed as a team that really wanted to get Jimenez and bring him right here to Cincinnati.
Well, we understand Jimenez has just been taken out of the game in Colorado, and he is being hugged by his teammates in the dugout as he is on his way to the clubhouse. So nothing for sure quite yet. Foul away by Votto, 2-2. Well, I tell you, that's a tough spot to put your manager in.
Well, you're not kidding about that.
I mean, if you're Jim Tracy, I mean, it's hard enough to manage and handle a bullpen when you're playing 81 home games a year at mile-high altitude, humidor, no humidor. And then all of a sudden you're playing in a game, and now we don't know for sure if Jimenez was taken out of the game because he's been traded.
Or because he gave up 4 runs in the first inning. But usually when you give up 4 runs in the first inning and you get taken out of a game, you don't get a lot of hugs in the dugout on the way.
No.
I can tell you that personally.
What happens if you're the pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles tonight? What are you getting when you come out of that game?
You mean when the Yankees are raking them, what is that, 16-1?
In the 5th.
The Yankees send a limo to your house the next morning to make sure you get back to the ballpark. Oh, it's after. There was 15 after 2.
Number 2 is a guy that's at the plate. That's Derek Jeter. But that's 16-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. 18 base hits. Man. Strike 1 on Brandon Phillips. And 1 to Brandon. It's taken outside, a ball and a strike. Two and one on Phillips, who knocked in the first run of the night in that 5-run first inning with a single into left field. Later scored himself. Has since fly to the warning track in right center and drew a walk in the 4th. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning, and right from the get-go, it's been all Reds tonight. They have a 7-2 lead. All of a sudden, some of these Reds hitters are exercising a little bit of patience against Mr. Casilla. Bear in mind, we show you that Yankee game. That is the second game of a doubleheader. The Yankees in the first game scored 8 runs to beat Baltimore 8-3. So in 9 innings, in 14 innings now, the Yankees have scored 24 runs. Back-to-back 2-out walks by Casilla. And the inning continues for Miguel Cairo.
You know, Bruce Bochy still finds himself in a tough spot. He's got a bullpen that has been overworked, especially given the fact that they had that 13-inning game last night. He's got to be concerned in his mind what might happen here on a day game in Cincinnati on their getaway day. Harry Zito got blasted around his last start in Philadelphia pretty good. So he may be trying to conserve a pitcher or two. Meanwhile, he's looking at a 7-2 deficit, and Miguel Cairo's got a chance to play a little add-on.
We talk about it so frequently about it's not who you play, it's when you play them, and it's not always, you know, if you lost. Sometimes it's how you lost, and then it affects what you might or might not be able to do as you move forward in your season and in your schedule. The Giants go into play tonight. You know, it's 61-45, 16 games over 500. They have a 4-game lead in their division. But if, hypothetically speaking, and obviously you're hoping as a Reds fan that this would be the case, you know, they got to use a lot of their bullpen tonight. You get to Zito early tomorrow. Get deep into that bullpen early on tomorrow. But for the Giants, they got to fly across the country and then go toe-to-toe with that team right behind them in the standings. Arizona starting on Monday night.
Yeah, there's no off day between when you fly from the East Coast back out west. Of course, you gain 3 hours, but there's no mandatory off day. When you come the other way, they usually get an off day. So you want to stay healthy for that. And, of course, right after they have Arizona come into town, they've got the Philadelphia Phillies for 4.
The one-time Red, Jeremy Affeldt, left-hander, getting ready in the Giant bullpen. We did not see him last night. The only member of the bullpen we did not see last night. 2-1 on Cairo. Arizona picked up right-hander Jason Marquis from the Washington Nationals for a minor league shortstop earlier today. And some might say, well, big deal. We're talking to Giants guys. And for whatever reason, Jason Marquis, during his time in St. Louis, more recently with Washington, they say that Marquis has owned the Giants in his career. And they might be facing him in that 3-game series upcoming on Monday.
Casilla has completely lost it. We talked about it, Tom, last night when he came into the ball game and he threw strikes. He came in the 7th inning, gave up a base hit to Freddie Lewis, but he threw the ball over the plate. Tonight he threw strikes last inning, got the 2 out in this inning, then walked 2 in a row, and has been all over the place ever since.
Well, this might be the final batter he faces either way. His spot is due up second when the Giants bat in the 7th inning. So San Francisco could double switch. You have a left-handed batting Jay Bruce next and a left-hander Affeldt ready in the bullpen. 3-1 on Cairo. And he's walked the bases loaded. And that's it for Casilla. Bruce Bochy pops out of his seat. And we have our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. 3 straight walks after 2 are out. The Reds have them loaded for Jay Bruce when we come back. you'll take home a Reds relief pitcher featuring a drink pitcher and 2 cups, thanks to Coca-Cola. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. A couple of changes, as we suspected they would, for the Giants. New shortstop Mike Fontenot replacing Brandon Crawford, and now taking over on the mound is left-hander Jeremy Affeldt.
And a reliever who was once a Cincinnati Red came to the Reds early inside a contract where they told him, hey, you're going to get a chance to be a starter. Went down to spring training, pitched a couple of spring training starts. It didn't work out. They put him in the bullpen. He had a good run with the Reds. A very talented left-hander with great stuff. And he will come up here with 2 outs, bases loaded, and face Jay Bruce. Bruce in his career has faced him a couple of times. No hits, but a strikeout. Got to come in there with a strike right now. Affeldt has been very tough against left-handers. Hold them to a 171 batting average.
Two and 0. That's a dandy of a breaking ball there.
On a 2-0 count with the bases loaded. You miss with 2 fastballs, you drop old Lord Charles on them.
Two and 2 on Jay Bruce. Second time he's batted tonight with the bases loaded. And this time he strikes out. We move to the 7th. Reds 7, Giants 2. means another $25 goes to the Reds Community Fund from Shakely. Shakely, it's done. Chris Stewart, the catcher, first pitch swinging to begin the Giants' 7th inning, a base hit. Reds lead 7-2 with the Giants batting here in the 7th off Mike Leake. Sixth hit of the game allowed by Mike. Now Fondo bats for the first time since coming on as part of the double switch when Jeremy Affeldt entered the game. He got the start at shortstop last night. We were talking about Ubaldo Jimenez and whether or not he's on the move to Cleveland, and how he's already been taken out of that game tonight in San Diego. I failed to mention that his mound opponent tonight for the Padres is Aaron Harang. There's a base hit into right field, and the Giants have 2 on to start this 7th inning.
Well, one more time, Mike Leake will be tested. He was in the 5th inning. A couple of errors by the Reds infield. Gave up a double last inning, and he's got first and second right now. Now we turn the lineup over. Boy, Aaron Harang is having one heck of a nice year for the Padres, is he not?
Well, I believe he's going for his 10th win of the year tonight.
I think you're right. Winning that ball game 4-2. It's early in the ball game out there in Colorado.
San Diego.
Or in San Diego. Yeah. He's 9-2. Earned run average about 3.4. Glad to see that for Aaron. Change of scenery, got back home, pitching in a ballpark that is not as cruel to fly ball pitchers. Well, this is where if you're Mike Leake, you just bow your neck and say, all right, I got to do it one more time. Don't look down the bullpen for help. Get a ground ball right here. You've got a 5-run lead. You're thinking about damage control.
Andres Torres with a count of 1-0. And it's grounded foul to even the count. The Giants have not played in many of these kind of games this year. And that's either on the losing side or the winning side of a 3, 4, 5-run game. When swung on and fouled out of play, they scored so few runs, but they've allowed even fewer runs. And so they just don't get into many games where they're behind, 5-0, ahead 5-0, down 7-2, up 7-1. Of course, the Reds have been involved in a pile of 1-run games, much like the Giants. There's a swing and a miss, and that's the first out in the inning. 7 strikeouts in the game for Mike Leake.
Big out right there because Torres is a real fast runner. Tough guy to double up. You get him on the ground, there's no guarantee you're going to get a double play. You get a strikeout right there. Now you have Keppinger, who doesn't run nearly as well as Torres. If you get him on the ground, you can be out of the inning, no damage at all.
Well, Bill Bray is ready down in the Reds bullpen, and probably a pretty safe bet to suspect that if he's getting ready for anybody, it would be the man in the on-deck circle. And that would be Beltran.
Just like he did last night. Of course, last night Bill Bray was left into the ballgame a little longer than normal. Dusty Baker said it after the ballgame. Didn't want to do it. He came in the 7th inning. He struck out Beltran. Bray did, but then Dusty had him pitch the 8th as well because his bullpen was so depleted.
And it looked like Bray was going to get through that 8th inning. He had a 1-out walk to Cody Ross, but then he got a ground ball to force a runner out at second base on a great play made by Paul Yanish. But then he got ahead 2 strikes on Eli Whiteside, who wound up knocking in the tying run with a double to left center field. 0-2 on Keppinger. Keppinger among the most difficult players to strike out year in and year out in all of Major League Baseball. So he figures to put the ball in play. And Leake would like nothing more than a 2-hopper right at Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, he's a lot easier to have hit into a double play ball than he is to strike out, as odd as that sounds.
Out of play.
And really, the combination that makes you a ground ball double play prospect is you hit the ball on the ground and you don't run all that well. And he makes a lot of contact, so he may, instead of swinging big and missing on a pitch, he may slow his bat down a little bit, try to make contact and roll over on one, and that's where you get the double play.
Or he just punches one into right center field for a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third.
Well, we have seen him do that so many times. I mean, he's a professional hitter. Bruce Bochy telling me before the ball game that they've been so pleased with what he has done. Of course, Freddie Sanchez was signed, and he was their regular everyday second baseman for the majority of the year before his injury forced the Giants to go out and get a replacement.
The crowd going to give Mike Leake a nice round of applause. Leake gives his catcher Ryan Hannigan a tap on the back and a wave to the crowd. It's maybe not in the books quite yet. Beltran will bat with the bases loaded off Bill Bray. Seventh inning, and they have the best hitter in their lineup coming up, at least as far as a career is concerned, and that's Carlos Beltran against Bill Bray.
Now, this same matchup happened last night. Bill Bray went 2-2 on him before he struck him out on a slider down and in. Of course, Beltran, a veteran, a very smart hitter. He went to school on that, and he'll be a lot more familiar with the offerings of Bill Bray in this at-bat. That's why they turn him around. You see the batting averages right there. Really, the raw numbers are as impressive as well.
Ball one.
You just wonder when the pressure begins to build on Carlos Beltran as to when he is going to deliver a big hit for the Giants. 1 for 12 since joining this ball club.
1 out in the inning. And it's fouled back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Late on the heater.
Foul to get ahead 1-2.
Little slider down and in, very tough to keep fair.
Stewart started the inning with a hit. Fondo with a hit. A strikeout of Torres and a single by Keppinger to load the bases for Beltran. High pop up. Short left. They're not going to take the chance you wouldn't think with 1 out in the inning. They will not. So a big out for Bill Bray, and what do the Giants obviously have? Sandoval coming up. Then you have another left-handed batter in the on-deck circle in Shearholtz. And Bill Bray 1 more out to get. He faced Sandoval in the game last night to begin that 8th inning. And Sandoval hit a rocket right at Drew Stubbs.
Well, it's obvious with the way that even tonight you can tell Sandoval seeing the ball real big tonight and in this series.
The first time tonight he'll turn around and bat from the right side. Big swing and a miss.
Well, he had a pitch he wanted and just came up empty. Talk about looking fastball, getting fastball, and letting it rip.
Bases loaded for the Giants. The Reds with a 5-run lead. 2 outs here in the 7th. 0-1 to Sandoval. A ball and a strike.
What is that?
That's Kung Fu Panda.
It's his birthday?
Those are those panda hats they wear all the time. For Sandoval.
Boy, Bill Bray sticking with the heater. Throwing it right by Sandoval upstairs.
Try to get him to chase that fastball up and away. Well, this figures to be the action pitch in this at bat. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and a 2-2 count.
about 40,000 umpires sitting in the stands, most of them wearing red, that would have liked this one rung up, but our Fox track shows you that it is a bit outside.
3-2 gas.
He stuck with it the whole time. Brian Hannigan telling him, all right, shake me off right here. So it makes me look like you're throwing something different.
Came back with another fastball, and Sandoval tardy, but it's fouled off and out of play, and we'll do it once again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bobbles has time. How about Bill Bray? Well, that's clutch pitching right there. Clutch pitching.
Billy.
What a job by Bill Bray. Came in with the bases loaded and only 1 out. Facing the 2 best hitters in the Giant order. You got Beltran on a pop-up into short left. And Sandoval on a ground ball to third. That is clutch pitching indeed by Bill Bray. You've been talking about him all year long, Chris.
I'll tell you what, you know, it was that's as tough a situation as you can come into. Because he has normally all year long been a guy that would come in and face a left-hander. But now you got 2 switch hitters, which makes the Giants a little difficult to pitch to in the middle of the order. One of them being Carlos Beltran, the other one being the very hot Pablo Sandoval, and he took care of both of them and challenged him with the fastball.
Well, we understand it is now a done deal for Rafael Furcal as a 10-5 player. He was given a 24-hour period to contemplate a trade moving from the Dodgers to the Cardinals. Now, neither team has officially reported the trade yet, but multiple sources, including a friend of mine at the game in Dodger Stadium tonight, Furcal has just been taken out of the Dodger lineup and might be a St. Louis Cardinal as early as tomorrow. Well, the Cardinals all of a sudden with a flurry of activity here over the last 3 days. Of course, you know, I mean, reality is reality. Here's a comebacker, Heisey to the mound, and Maffelt will underhand at first. That's a first out in the 7th inning. I mean, you know, it's not you know, any indictment on anybody. It is just a fact, and it is just a reality. The Cardinals sell out virtually every single game. You know, the TV money the Cardinals are getting is probably not a heck of a lot different than the TV money an organization like the Reds get. The market sizes are virtually a wash. But, you know, when one team is averaging 20,000 something per game and another team is averaging 40,000 per game, I mean, you do the math. And if the Cardinals have to, you know, add payroll and big time payroll for the final 2 months of the season, apparently they're prepared to take on that kind of money. What was some of the deals they've made here in the last couple of days?
Well, they're a ball club, Tom, that, you know, they're prepared to win it right now, or at least try to win it right now. They're not sure what's going to happen after the year with their negotiations with the best player in the game and Albert Pujols. They've got Chris Carpenter, a free agent after the year. So they've got a lot of balancing to do with their books after the season is over. But right now, they're all in.
Cardinals technically are averaging 38,000 fans per game. Reds about 10,000 less. Reds all the way up to what? You know, they're in the upper half of the league now in attendance as this season has gone on. We've been talking about all the fans and the way they've been piling in. Another 40,402 in attendance here tonight.
Yeah, they're ahead of last year in their attendance. It's been a lot of fun out here this summer.
Sure has. Of course, you know, there's almost 2 full months of baseball still to be played, and a lot of home games here at Great American Ballpark. As Frazier grounds out to end the inning. So jump on Reds.com right now. Lots of baseball to be played. The Reds going to bring on Logan Ondrusek from the bullpen. 7-2 lead. We're set for the 8th inning, and you can't say enough about the job Bill Bray did here tonight.
Under pressure, Bray comes in, bases loaded, gets out of the jam. 2/3 of an inning for Bill Bray. 6 1/3 of 2-run baseball. Another quality start for the starter tonight, Mike Leake. That is Leake's 13th quality start out of 18 tries, and he'll give way to the tallest of the Reds pitchers, and Logan.
Nate Shearholtz to lead it off. And there's strike one. He'll be followed by Brandon Belt and in the pitcher spot. Cardinals won earlier today at home over the Cubs. Milwaukee, the division leader, beating up Houston again. That game in the ninth inning, 6-2 Brewers. There's a broken bat rolling to Brandon Phillips, one out in the inning. And the Pirates are trailing in Philadelphia, bottom of the eighth inning, 6-4 game there. The Boston Red Sox have just acquired Rich Harden from the Oakland Athletics. Harden, an unbelievably talented pitcher, but has never been able to count on him to stay healthy during his entire career. And obviously Boston hoping they can catch some lightning in a bottle the final 2 months out of the year, because when he's on the mound, he's a pretty good pitcher, man.
You're not kidding about that.
No official word yet on Ubaldo Jimenez. But again, he was taken out of his game, his start tonight in San Diego. And many sources say Jimenez could be a Cleveland Indian by night's end. Trade deadline 4 Eastern in the afternoon tomorrow. And MLB.com, in fact, is reporting it is a done deal. Jimenez to the Tribe. And so far, those are 3 of the names. There is a reported 4th player involved in that trade. Cleveland only 1 game over 500, 2.5 behind the front running Detroit Tigers. The White Sox all of a sudden trying to put together a run from an unbelievably deep hole early in the year. That team was almost 20 games under 500. They are all the way back to an even 500 record as Belt is out of there swinging for out number 2. I tell you, haven't seen a little bit of all of those teams this year. I just still find it so hard to believe that the White Sox, when all is said and done, are not going to be the team that comes out on top in that division. I mean, obviously they've had their issues, and they had a pile of issues early on. But man, oh man, do they have some players on that club. Of course, Detroit has the best pitcher in the division. There's no question about that. And Justin Verlander.
The White Sox still have their cleanup hitter batting in the 160s.
Yep. That's a former Red, Adam Dunn. And he is in the first year of a whopping contract. One and one to Aaron Rowan. Rowan batting for Affeldt, who goes a perfect inning and a third with a strikeout. That'll be a 2-out double for Rowan.
Well, backhanding it is the right play right there, just unable to come up with it.
Ball 1 to Chris Stewart. He's been on base twice in a game. He's flying to left, reached on an error, scored a run, then singled into left center field an inning ago. Giants had their chance to make this a tight game in the 7th inning. They had them loaded with 1 out, and their 3 and 4 hitters coming up. But Bill Bray came in and retired both Beltran and Sandoval without any damage. Drusick has retired the first 2 here in the 8th. Rowan with a double, and now 2-0 on Stewart. Two and 1 the count on the Giant catcher. On Drusick, a look back, and the count is even on the foul ball to the screen. So now on Drusick trying to put this 8th inning on ice. Well, we'd like to toot the horn of our Reds Live pregame show. I understand earlier tonight the entire crew from Reds Live, the pregame show, and Chris Welsh, you deserve a tip of the cap as well on this. You're a big part of that show every day, and whether it's a checklist or whether it's Tech Talk, apparently winning a regional Emmy tonight. And congratulations to everybody involved. Chris, Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, producer Kent Weaver, and all the crew that works on Reds Live to bring it to you before each and every Reds game.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
Indeed. Congratulations to all. Three balls and 2 strikes on Chris Stewart. Drusick trying to put the catcher away and end the inning. Instead, he walks him. Wild pitch on ball 4 allows Rowan to advance on to third. So now to be Fontenot as all of this starts with 2 men out, and Brian Price will have to come out and visit the mound.
I can see why he's coming out there right now, because it really looks like Logan Ondrusik is very reluctant to throw that fastball. And throughout that entire at bat, I realized, you know, they're all they seem to want to throw is that breaking ball or the cutter. He's a big guy with a fastball that he's got a lot of downward action on. It gets up there in the low 90s with some late life. Got to trust your stuff.
So now Mike Fontenot after the visit to the mound. And a ground ball which should and will end. That makes you wonder if Fontenot there. You're down 5 runs. Come on. Dog play of the game. Who else? Number 4. Sellout crowd on hand here tonight. Lots of youngsters all fired up to pick up their Scott Rowland mesh jersey. It was given away before the ball game. Boy, so many memories for the little ones when they get a chance. And, of course, the overwhelming majority of folks, they might be able to afford only, 1-2 games a year. Some certainly able to go a little bit more frequently than that as Ramon Ramirez takes over on the mound. But, man, every day make it a point to walk out by that concourse and look at all the kids running around before the game. I mean, look at that right there. I mean, any dad who has a little girl, that's all you need to see. End of story. Been a good night for the home team. It started from the very first inning. That guy's still fired up. Look at him. Still 0-2 on Drew Stubbs. Reds got 5 runs in the first inning off Madison Bumgarner. Giants with a run in the second, but the Reds came back with 2 runs in the fourth, opening a 7-1 lead. Giants got a run back. 5th inning. Here's a high fly ball on the right. Should be out number 1. Reds have really not threatened much. They get with 2 outs. Casilla back in a 6th, walked, the bases loaded. But the biggest threat of the night from a Giants perspective that appeared to endanger the 5-run lead was when they were batting in the 7th inning. They had the bases loaded on 3 hits against Mike Leake. In came Bill Bray. And Bray got Beltran on a pop up to short left. Got Sandoval on a ground out to third. And here we are in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out. Strike 1 to Edgar Renteria. The Reds in front 7-2. Reds have been out hit tonight 9-7.
you're going good when your ball club scores 7 runs on 7 hits. You have to look around and get some help, and they did that. Giants have made 3 errors. The Reds have had 2. I'll tell you one thing about Ramirez. He is not afraid at all about throwing that fastball in on the hands of these right-handed hitters. I mean, he came right after Stubbs with fastballs on the thumbs and did the same thing to Renteria.
Joey Votto, the batter. Check swing, foul ball. Joey 1 out of 3, singled and scored in the 5-run first inning. He drew a walk back in the 6th. Holy mackerel. That slipped right out of his hands, and Votto gave a little smirk out there on the mound. Off the end of the bat, shallow center. Fondo's got it. Inning over. Giants will bat in the 9th with the Reds in front, 7-2. Capping off a 5-run, 5-hit opening inning against Giants starter Madison Bumgarner. Tell you, for a guy hitting in the 240s, and that's where Heisey is hitting, you know, his RBI ratio per at bat is pretty doggone impressive. He's got 38 runs batted in now. And of course, a lot of those at bats were as a pinch hitter. Oliana's going to take over at short, and to try and nail down the final 3 outs of the night, here's Nick Massey.
He is the 4th pitcher of the night for Dusty Baker. Mike Leake went 6 1/3 of 2-run, 1-earned baseball. Did not walk a batter and struck out 7. Billy Bray came in and got 2 tough outs with the bases loaded. Andrusik pitched the 7th or the 8th, and here's the hard-throwing Nick Massey for the 9th. Top of the order.
Milwaukee a final, a win tonight over Houston 6-2. Giovanni Gallardo getting his 12th win of the year for the Brewers. They talk all about Greinke and Markham. They can talk about them from now until next Tuesday. Gallardo has been their main man.
He has been and probably will continue to be. 12-7 now.
For whatever reason, the Reds have had just so much success against the Brewers the last couple of years. Yeah, they lost 3 out of 4 in that series in Milwaukee before the All-Star break, but of course they blew the chance to win 3 out of the 4. And they have really dominated the Brewers the last couple of seasons and dominated Gallardo for whatever reason the last couple of years. There's a ground ball off the bat of Torres. That's out number 1 in the night.
Tell you what we're seeing a little different out of Joey Votto now, Tom, is that when he fields a ground ball, he'll get his momentum going towards first base. For a while there, he was kind of fielding a ground ball, taking the ball out of his glove and throwing it overhand in kind of a lob fashion to the pitcher covering. Now he's doing it more conventionally. Coming to the bag, giving an underhand throw. It's a lot easier for the pitcher to see the ball coming that way. Normally you get it more on the line. He lifts this one a little bit high, but Mass is there to be able to make the play.
Yeah, you saw that face. He went like, he almost flipped it over his head right there.
He's been real good defensively at first base.
Count, and a tapper foul off the bat of Jeff Keppinger. .30 Reds Live tomorrow gets underway with Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro, and our game coverage starts at 1 o'clock. There are tickets available tomorrow, a Faith Day tomorrow, and a post-game concert included in your ticket price from the Emmy award-winning band Mercy Me. Barry Zito will start it for the Giants, and the Reds ace Johnny Cueto on the hill. So on a night where the Cardinals win, the Brewers win, the Pirates lose again at Philadelphia 7-4 the final there. The Reds with a win will gain ground only on the Pirates. Of course, this upcoming week the Brewers and the Cardinals go toe-to-toe while the Reds are playing down in Houston.
Well, even if you only gain on the Pirates, you still have to start getting ahead of the teams ahead of you. Right now, when you've got 3 teams ahead of you, you're not going to gain on all of them every night. You take what you get.
There's a base hit by Keppinger, his second hit tonight, 3rd time he's been on base. Now Beltran with 1 out in the 9th inning. Beltran hitless in 4 at-bats. Mike Leake 6 1/3 innings tonight. Strikes out 7, does not walk a batter. Allows 8 hit and 2 runs, almost identical to his last start against the New York Mets outside of the strikeout total. Went 6 1/3 in that game, allowed 8 hits and 2 earned runs. Keppinger taking second base. Not awarded with a steal there. Defensive indifference. 1-1 the count on Beltran. Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks take the field tonight at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, basically for a second straight night, knowing they have a chance to gain ground if the Reds can get the final 2 outs here in the 9th inning on the front-running Giants in the National League West. In the air, left field, Heisey's got it, and the Giants are down to their final out of the night.
Boy, Massett's got good stuff tonight. A very crisp curveball and a fastball that he is riding up in the zone right around 95.
So now the crowd of over 40,000 here tonight. 40,402. Stand in anticipation of Massett nailing down the final out and back-to-back wins for the Reds in this series against the defending world champion San Francisco Giants. Of course, when the Reds won back-to-back games last Saturday and Sunday, it was the first time they had done that in a month. Well, now they've done it twice in a week. Two 2-0 on Sandoval. 2 out of 4 in a game. Homered in the second, singled in the fourth. Sandoval. Base hit right field. They're going to hold Keppinger at third. Well, the inning continues for Shearholtz. Still that elusive 27th out of the night for Cincinnati pitching. And Massett against Shearholtz with 2 on and 2 out in the Giant night. Reds leading by 5. Away. Sandoval was going to go ahead and get in a scoring position. He'll make the U-turn, come on back. Sandoval must have done a lot of running around during the offseason. The Giants basically told him at the end of last year, if you don't lose weight, we don't care how well you hit, you're not playing. And he lost a pile of it. Sandoval on the second base. And now the chance to put it away.
This is the guy we've been looking for all night.
As Dusty Baker began his managerial career with the San Francisco Giants. Won a lot of games and took them to a World Series in 2002. Still makes his home in Northern California. And a 1-2 pitch. Game over. 2 in a row. Reds over the defending world champions. Got him in 13 innings last night, 4-3. Take care of business at 8.5 tonight. Thanks in large part, Mr. Welsh, to a 5-run first inning. Mike Leake gets his 9th win of the year, 7-2 final.
Yeah, so often, Tom, we say that the starting pitcher sets the tone for the ball game, but that may not be the case tonight. Not with a 5-spot. The Reds dropped on Madison Bumgarner before he could really blink. He went 40 pitches in the first inning, gave up 5 runs. Mike Leake pitched a very tidy ball game, despite the fact that he didn't get great defense behind him. So another real fine outing, a good collective effort by the Reds to put this one in the books. 2 in a row against the world champions. That's not so bad.
Back in a moment.